Okay, and we're live. Sweet. I'm getting rid of this guy. Charlie and Chris, 8 Ballin, number 3, new beverages. You were gonna.
Oh, right. I was gonna tell Chris about what this was because I wanted to promote them. It's Sprecher Cream Soda. The best cream soda that I've ever had, and I'd like to make a PSA right now. I think the thing that they did right was making it taste slightly like tapioca pudding.
Well, that's is cream vanilla by definition, or not?
More or less, yeah.
So I have a premium ginger ale, and it has like half the sugar.
Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah, it's natural sugar, not HFC.
I really like ginger ale, like a Verner's, especially if you got like a little bit of an upset stomach.
So, and the world's best bottle opener. It's OXO. They don't make them anymore.
Is it
eBay.
Is it magnetic?
No, it's just, it goes both ways.
Just like you.
Just like me. So you can go that way or this way.
Oh, I
so for
see.
my hand function,
Oh, right.
it works
Oh.
super well.
I gotcha.
You know what else? That 8 ball, I found an older vintage 8 ball on eBay, and I think I'm gonna buy it because they showed pictures.
Is it better or clearer? Like,
It looked, the little answer cube looks bigger,
oh, okay.
and they showed pictures of it. So first taste.
And it says you may rely on it, so I bet you it's telling us that is the case.
Wow, does this taste different?
That's that good, huh? That's how I felt when I first tried this. I was like, mind blown.
It tastes natural.
That's good. Yeah, Mountain Dew doesn't taste natural. I had one today for the first time in like a few weeks, I think. I switched to like mainly water, like maybe Sprite if I'm at work, but I had one, I was like, oh, kind of lost this.
If you don't eat products with high fructose corn syrup, it's just like, bam!
Yeah.
You know, it's like a drug.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's engineered to be a drug. My personal conspiracy theory.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think that it's very plausible. I think a lot of that stuff is like that. Like caffeine industry, like, oh, they're trying to get us addicted. Well, first of all, score 1 for the caffeine people.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. Doesn't kill you like
French fries.
nicotine.
Nicotine, there you go. Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know if nicotine kills you, but cigarettes do.
That's the thing. Like, I think it messes with your brain function, like your reward system.
Oh yeah, I think ounce per ounce is more addictive than heroin.
Probably. The question is, how would somebody act without a nicotine addiction versus with, like, the thing to do would be to get twins.
In terms of
Just
when
choices
they're on nicotine or
at all times. That's the study I'm really curious of knowing. You know, it's like because when you're on nicotine, like I know what it's
I
like.
mean, whether it's behavioral or just totally biological.
Behavioral, I think. Yeah, I would assume that it is, but I could be wrong.
I think it's biologically addictive.
No, but I mean the symptoms of it, of the addiction, bleed into your behavior.
I mean, yeah. Spitballing, I would guess that. 8 ball, I would guess that twins would be the same. I think they'd be the same.
Unless you separated them at birth without them knowing, and then reunited them 20 years later.
Yeah, but don't all the studies suggest that they're
The same anyway.
the same anyway?
Yeah, they do turn out the same. Which I was like,
in the long run.
yeah, I thought, like, I learned this in maybe 11th grade. Same, a pair of sisters, same number of rings on each finger.
Wow.
Jewelry preferences were the same, which is like, what blows my mind. Anyway,
That's wild.
yeah, I love that stuff. Let's get to the juice, people. Which, I don't know.
Charlie came in all torqued up, and he asked if I had watched the debates, and I saw some highlights. I forgot about them last night, and
For your own happiness.
I saw my favorite lady, Elizabeth Warren, just fist pounding on healthcare, which I can't even stand her delivery. But anyway, so you're go.
I did the same deal, so I watched some highlights, read some articles, nothing crazy. But I did notice that the highlight reel that I watched was 5 minutes, I think, short of 2 hours, right? The total debate was 2 hours. And during that 5-minute highlight reel, there was mention of confiscating firearms, abolishing private health care, instating government health care for all, eliminating safeguards against illegal immigration. Safeguards, I know that's a charged term, so I'll just say eliminating punishment for those who might come across under the current laws without proper not through the proper pathways. As well as eliminating potential future punishments for people who want to become citizens. They're like, no, everybody wants to come across. We have to make it for everybody. That's awesome.
I had visual aids. I forgot to bring them. I forget what got me on it, but somebody brought up. Okay, there's two things here. Here's what led me towards it. Early in the morning, I watch generally MSNBC. Just like getting riled up. And Fox does rouse me up almost equally as much.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm going to exaggerate to make a point that the numbers are exact. Somebody was reporting on kids being separated, and they said that the process had been totally, they didn't use the word abused, but that was clearly suggested. And they said instead of taking 72, it took 110. Like, it took 110 what? It took 110 instead of 72. And I'm like, months, you know? It's like 38 months. They reduced it to hours. It generally takes 3 days. So they extrapolated that in hours, which is normally 72. So it took 110 hours instead of 72 hours. It took 4.5 days instead of 3 days. And they're like, the horror.
Right, mind-melting apocalypse.
Right. Why didn't they go into like seconds? It took like 265,000 instead of 100, you know, whatever.
Yeah, double. Instead of
milliseconds. It took millions more. I was so incensed. It took 110 instead of 72. Fucking hours.
You know what's beautiful about that?
Wait, so go ahead.
I was just going to say that it proves to me, like, it's sad that there's people out there who don't know that. Be skeptical of that.
It took 110. Wow, 110 hours! It took 100 people. It took 110 instead of 72. Yeah, and then somebody else. So I got on the internet, and I wanted pictures of the cages that the people are purporting.
Right, and the aluminum foil blankets.
Yes, it's little, quote unquote, it's little more than aluminum foil. And you know what those are? Do you know what those are?
Yeah, it's shock, like
Mylar.
Yeah.
Mylar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In Mylar, it's the blankets that they use
To treat shock.
They use it on the space shuttle. If you've ever done a marathon.
What? We give these kids space blankets? What?
Right. We're giving kids space blankets.
How much money are we spending on that?
This is crazy.
No, that's all right.
Anyway, so I got two things. So, and this is exactly how somebody had described it previously, which was, I got pictures of probably 12 to 14-year-old young men, and they were in an air-conditioned, and it was not as big, but similar in structure to like an airplane hangar.
Did you feel the air conditioning through the picture?
Exactly. So one, when you're in Baja California or wherever the border processing places, wherever you're in San Antonio, Texas, or wherever in New Mexico, they're in fucking air. And I'm not begrudging them comfort.
Right.
I'm just totally incensed with the way it's reported. So they're in buildings, and in those buildings, there are just fenced-in areas, and the fences are maybe 10 feet high, 10, 12 feet high. It was noted in the article that I read that they were like, notice the netting across the fencing, because the kids were climbing out and attempting to escape the buildings.
Which is way more dangerous if you're just a kid, you're like, oh, let me go be in the desert.
Well, they just wanted to wander out into America and not be locked in a fenced area, which I get. But anyway, so
It's awesome.
they're in an air-conditioned building. They're sitting on like stadium seating, which isn't the most comfortable, but this is, this is I don't know if they refer to them there as refugee, but a refugee processing area.
Sure.
So it's air conditioned, and then there's a sleeping area, and in the same thing they said, and they're sleeping on concrete. No, they said they're sleeping on the floor. In the sleeping area, there were whole bunches of like little 3-inch mattresses.
Right, those pads or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like an air mattress or whatever. And they said that was sleeping on the floor. So I guess I'm sleeping on the floor too, because my bed's on the floor. So the mattress they're on is on the floor. And they have blankets that are a little more than 10 foot. But they do happen to be Mylar, which is a total high, 40 years ago, Mylar was super high tech, very expensive to make.
Yeah.
And on and on.
It's almost like 80s, totally.
So they're sleeping on the floor, on mattresses, they're sleeping under tinfoil, Mylar blankets, they're in cages. Oh, and then, I don't know if you remember, do you remember a little, he was kind of like dark complected for a South American kid, and he was like hanging on to these little black.
I think I saw that. There's two.
And it looked more or less like a cage, okay?
Yeah.
So there's this little kid and he's crying. So, the reality of what happened in this picture is, there is an area that is more or less a cage. It's a detention cell for the kids who tried to get out or to do something else wrong.
Yeah.
The door had been left open. The little kid wandered into the detention cell. He got afraid because he didn't know where his mom was, grabbed the little bars and started crying because he wanted his mom. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the photo that they had and have been using to represent kids as locked up in cages.
The dishonesty in journalism. And I credit Gavin McInnes with this. Like, he always was strong on that. He's like, if you read a story about yourself in the news, you're like, that's not right, that's wrong, that's not right. And he goes, oh my gosh, if I know all the facts about this one and they're so wrong about that, what else are they getting wrong about every story? It's just
But it wasn't even like having gotten it wrong.
It's dishonesty.
It was dishonesty.
Yes.
It was absolutely intentional misrepresentation to suit a narrative.
I agree, and that's a controversial thing to say, but that's really where I stand on that. I think they're doing it intentionally.
For sure. I mean, we've had this conversation about
We just did last week.
fire plane crashes, but this is different because I found the actual picture that I saw on CNN or whatever, weeks if not months ago, and it was just it really lit my fire.
And the question then is like, okay, if it's not good enough, what's good enough? For this person who's imposing a burden on us, right? By making us take care of them because the laws are kind of fucked up, we don't really know what to do, yada yada. And it's like, what? Do they want to, stay in mansions and shit?
Yeah, so all right.
Where's the line?
So let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit.
Yeah.
So the people who are coming here from South America, again, weeks or months ago, a woman was interviewed. And she came up with her young son. And they said, what are you doing here? And she said, well, I left Colombia, I live in an area. She said, but my area is very typical of the city, and I'm helping her along. It wasn't just concise or, broken English. But anyway, I live in a bad area. It's fraught with drug dealers. The country is corrupt. The government is basically run by the drug cartels. So my son has two options. Grow up and engage in the drug trade and engage in, an illegal and very dangerous profession, or not and get pursued by them and potentially killed. So she's like, so it's dangerous and there's no real economy, so there's no opportunity. So two things. One, why'd you have a kid? Right?
That's a fair question, yeah.
Two, okay, so you had a kid, whatever, maybe you didn't plan, or you have a kid. You go all the way, you walk up through Mexico. There are, and back when I was looking into this for other reasons, I went to the government website. I don't like unsubstantiated and uninformed opinions, especially when I'm pissed. and I know I'm going to bring it up and or argue about it with somebody.
Right.
So I went to the government website, whatever.gov. What is the criteria for asylum, right? And asylum, by definition, is going somewhere to seek refuge from political persecution. Political persecution. That is the dictionary definition, okay? A shitty economy and danger.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't?
I didn't even know that was the definition. I would have been on that years ago.
Oh my God, yeah. So asylum has nothing to do with danger,
Fear or whatever.
fear, shitty economy, bad personal circumstances, okay?
Right, it's like paranoia versus like reality.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What the fuck? So by definition, asylum is seeking refuge from necessarily political persecution, okay? Then there's a form. There's a PDF form that you print and you fucking fill out with a pen or pencil when you're there. So I read the form, okay? There were 6 boxes, and I can only remember 5. And you checked one, and I think there might have been a box for an explanation or whatever underneath. And so the 6th one was kind of inclusive to the 5, but it was race, religion, nationality, political affiliation, or membership to some group, society, or club. Well, that would be political affiliation, but whatever, you're the member of, I don't know, the Hot Rodders Club.
No, I know, I'm just saying like.
And they're trying to run you out of the country. So then you check those boxes. Okay, so maybe our policy's wrong. Maybe we do want to let people in who are in danger. Like if you're literally in fear for your life because of something that's not, political, that's not technically, and what's the word?
What? Asylum? What?
Yeah, you're not technically seeking
An asylum
asylum,
seeker, yeah.
right? Because you've heard, give us your poor, your tired, your puzzled masters. You know where that's from?
The Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Originally? No idea.
It's a sentence out of a poem that a woman wrote in the mid 19th century about the Statue of Liberty. That was very suiting to use to describe it,
Especially
right?
during that time period.
But it's a line out of a poem. It's not something a politician wrote
Or an economist.
a fucking poet wrote it.
Yeah.
She's like a poet, activist, social, whatever.
Yeah.
No, but it's a good line, but it's not political policy. It wasn't spoken by a politician or a governor.
I don't even give a shit about that. It's like, is it legislation? No. And that's when people were first saying all that stuff.
But sorry to interrupt. But my point is, people say it all the time. Give us your poor, your tired, your troubled masses. It's a fucking line from a poem.
Yeah.
That's been adopted by certain people to be what's understood to be our policy. It's what's on the Statue of Liberty. No, it's a line out of a fucking poem.
And if it is on the Statue of Liberty, someone else fucking made that. Different country. And made it.
But it's just a flag
Right.
that somebody
Yes.
put arbitrarily there because it matches. Well, you know what? That's very nice.
No,
You know, that's our policy. That's fine. But then change the fucking policy, right? Go in, write a bill, do what you fucking do, change the form, and fill it out. But don't say that those people are being mistreated because they are not. Oh, that's why they go to court. Why are you here? What's your issue? Well, there's no jobs. It's really dangerous because there's drugs. And I'm sorry for these people, but it's not our policy on how and why we let people into this country.
If it was the case, I should just chisel a statue, write something on there, a huddled you the masses, and then like a paperclip to that, a copy of the United States Constitution, send to Germany, go to Germany and say, hey, you guys have the statue here, I'd like to, I don't think I need to say anything else. The statue speaks for itself.
Right. Arbitrariness, if that's the word, right? Suits me, suits my cause.
I'm coming in. God. What? I did not know that about asylum. I'm happy to
Very surprised, yes. So basically everybody who's coming up here for Central America, and again, I'm very sorry for their life circumstances.
Right, that sucks. No one's going to disagree with that. Their life's great, No one's going to say that. Maybe some people would. But it's like, the thing, like I said, about where's the line, it's like, if we're going to have rules, why have rules if they don't mean anything?
Well, and people don't, either the press doesn't know it, or they don't care. And politicians don't seem to know, because they're talking about the egregiousness of how we're treated for these people who are seeking asylum. No, they're fucking not. Here, I gotta do it. Okay, Google. What is the definition of asylum?
Here's the definition of asylum. The protection granted by a nation to someone who has left their native country as a political refugee.
Pretty damn close.
Political refugee, yeah.
So there you go.
Man, and that term asylum seeker is like, propaganda number one now. If that's the case,
they're coming here because their countries are dangerous and poor.
Which is different than from asylum.
Yeah.
Seeking asylum, yeah.
Yeah, even if everyone's starving, it's not asylum.
Even in every
There's no
movie,
food, there's no water, that's not asylum.
even in every movie where they talk about like asylum, they actually use the correct definition. Like thinking about it in my head, it's like Jack Bauer. Oh, I need asylum. It's like, oh, you're actually the government's trying to kill you. Okay, we can. It's like that's actually the case. Yeah. So this is one time where in movies they get it right, and in reality they switch it around. What's that? They quote the like satire and reality will be indistinguishable from each other.
I don't know.
Oh no, that's it's magic and technology. But I'm just switching up the satire and reality part.
Okay.
It's that quote. It's like, oh, there's an advanced enough culture where they have high enough technology. It's indistinguishable from magic. But it's just like.
But no, I don't watch Fox, so
I like Tucker.
somebody said he was worth watching.
He's hilarious.
I only watch the news in the morning, but I can't believe nobody's brought this up because it's important. It's important. So either there's no the egregiousness that everybody's talking about at the border is totally misdirected, and actually really doesn't exist,
Right.
because they're there for the wrong reason. And again, I'm very sorry. Or our policy is wrong, and what people should be outraged at is our policy.
Right, and
Don't we help people? Don't we help people who fear for their lives, who can't get jobs? And again, maybe that's the right law to have, but it's not the law that's on the books. I think I killed this, but man, oh man, I could keep saying the
No,
same
you're
thing
totally
over and
right.
over to make myself feel better.
my mind is just blown. I honestly didn't know that, and I'm hearing this word, and I'm like, it's like, how do you get around that? It's not that. It's like around that. It isn't that, right?
They should just be turned away.
Hey, sorry, guys. Yeah.
And again, I think if somebody's watching this, they're getting the wrong idea that I'm hurt.
Right, we're saying screw these people. No,
That's not what I'm saying.
Yes. Value human life, whatever. I don't have. Those people shouldn't be subject to harm, right? But they also shouldn't be abusing our political system just because it's careless or whatever, right?
Or change the law.
Right, or do that. Yeah, and if you're not part of this country, how do you do that? By getting a driver's license and voter's registration.
Coming in the right way.
Right. Well, also that. Yeah. And what? Okay, here we go. Tangent. Before I left, my mom, she said something great because I was venting to her about the debate highlights just in preparation for this in the green room. And she goes, "What the fuck?" She's like, "What the hell? What are they teaching the people who do things the right way about everything? All this stuff. Student loan debt forgiveness." Everyone who just comes into the country legally, just give them citizenship, they can become citizens. Take away, like law-abiding citizens their guns. It's like, what are you teaching the person who does it the right way? Or getting rid of healthcare, like government healthcare.
Well, what you're teaching them is they're getting fucked.
That's her point. It's like, I should just, I shouldn't pay for that stuff right away. I should just get a loan and then wait for 10 years. And then have the government forgive it for me when I'm $250,000 in debt.
Where I work, the janitorial company that we subcontract, it's owned by an Eastern European guy, and he hires, the majority of his employees are from the country from where he comes.
Right.
And they're all semi-new immigrants. And I was talking to one young guy, and he was talking about, and now he's been there probably 10 years. And since the day he got here, he's sponsoring his parents to try to get him in here. And he's been working on it for 10 years. I didn't ask him how he got in, but he got in legally. Maybe it's easier when you're younger, I have no idea.
I think it has to do with your record and your money. Just because I've worked with people closely who came here legally, and it's like, yes, 7 years, depending on what country you come from, what your income is, and how you do once you get here, like keeping jobs and shit. 7 years it takes before you actually become a citizen.
Well, it was somewhere approaching 10 years, and he was still working on getting his mom and dad.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? What about that guy? Hubert, my guy, the guy I knew from Pizzeria, he's not there anymore. Great guy, hard worker, and it's like he took 7 or whatever 8 years just to get citizenship to, and all these other people just coming in willy-nilly.
Was he waiting in a different country?
No, he actually. So they give you a green card and then like a work visa. I don't know what the deal is.
He can't. His parents can't even cross. They can't even get into the country on any kind of temporary status.
Oh, if he comes in on a work visa or something?
Oh,
this guy.
Once you have a green card, I don't think a green card expires.
I think
once you have your green card, you're here.
I think that's what the case was. Or maybe it was a work visa and then a green card and then a...
But he can't get him here on a temporary visa. He can't even get him here.
Right, into the waiting room.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know how that works, but I can't imagine what he, and I know, most of the workers are young, and I think they're trying to get other members of their family here. And, it's a country we're all familiar with that doesn't have a very good reputation on a place to be or human rights. And he's frustrated. And I hadn't even brought up, the southern border. Another thing, and this is, I am going to step into a minefield on being misunderstood here.
Okay.
Some people, very recently, some bodies were found in the Rio Grande. Some people drowned while attempting to cross the Rio Grande, I guess a fairly risky portion of the river.
Like rocky type rapids?
Don't know, but they drowned. Something went wrong, water, they drowned. And it's totally tragic. Absolutely, loss of life, it's tragic. People trying to get away from something to get something better, right? That I get. Death, always bad. Always bad. But again, it was misrepresented in the same story that I was railing on in the beginning. It was, right before or subsequent to that. But like, they just, to me, trivialized these people's lives for a headline, which was, and bodies were found in the Rio Grande, like...
That sounds like they got killed and discarded.
Right, like somebody neglected them.
Yeah.
And they elected to come across a way where they didn't have to get processed. They tried to get through, maybe a place that, because it's so treacherous, isn't patrolled. I have no idea. And again, it's totally tragic. But it got used to misrepresent what's going on. And once again, really?
That's what I find admirable about the, I don't want to say the right, but you know what I mean. People on the right. Here you go. I'm not generalizing. Some good figures, which there are, I would say, and on the left, of course. But they point that out. It's like, by using that story as political ammunition, you're trivializing the actions or the lives of these people that actually had fucked up lives or stuff happened to them. Just like using it as a tool, you make it worthless because it's just a story now. It's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, there are the fact that kids get, and I learned a little bit about this, and I'm not sure why they have to do this, but so when you come across the border, if you're an adult, you have to go before I'm making this up, but it's something like you have to go before like a federal magistrate or something like that to explain what you're doing. And during that process, that's why and again, this is my understanding from what I read online, and I didn't, I read one, what appeared to be credible source, that that's why kids are separated from their parents, because their parents have to go and be, quote unquote, processed, air quotes.
Right.
So,
The adults, it makes
and you don't, the children, there's no way, you don't take the children into court with you, and whatever,
shit show.
right, what other processes and the mechanics of which are involved, apparently it makes more sense, at least with the system we have, right, wrong, or otherwise, the kids stay back, and then when their parents are done, and I don't know if this is a 72-hour, 110-hour thing, or,
Right.
but it's not this inhumane, most news outlets, it seems to me that the way they tell the story, my inference is mother, baby, you rip them from their arms and you throw them into a kid cage.
Yeah,
And
well, we
that's-
deport your ass and send whatever. Yeah, it's-
Right.
Yeah.
So the first order of business is separating kids from their parent or parents, right? Putting them into a, an inhumane cage, and then, then the rest of the process. And I do not believe it's that humane or fucking sinister. I don't think any part of it is sinister.
Right. Unless you just say it.
Maybe it's effectively cruel, but
Yeah. I saw use of the terminology concentration camps, and I saw somebody point out, and very intelligently point out that concentration camp isn't the same as a death camp. We're just isolating these people who need to be separated from other people for whatever reason. And it's not like Germany is the only place that uses concentration camps,
yeah, but
And that it's just that word has very negative connotation to it.
Well, in modern culture, it's synonymous with
A death camp.
with the camps in Germany,
Yeah.
right? So, but again, it's a misrepresentation.
Exactly.
Even if it is right, technically, it's a misrepresentation.
Yes, right.
But to me, I think that is I think that trivializes what happened in Germany. To even use that is not appropriate.
And it's fair. And a lot of like, I don't know about a lot of, but at least I saw one famous Jewish person come out and say, "Hey, my dad or my grandpa, whatever, actually lived through that shit." So I don't know what you think you're talking about. It's, yeah,
Yeah,
pointed that out.
right. If I had family or I were close to that in some way, I'd be like, you know what, that's an
Fuck you.
insult.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Right, because to them it does mean that. Yeah.
Anyway, so is there more rage? Is there more?
Yeah, I have that. Wait, there's actually some shine. Let me look. There's no notification live. Funny days. Let's see. Wait, I have screenshots. Sorry, guys. Okay, NBC. This is an article by NBC about the Democratic debates last night.
Are we allowed to say that?
I saw a headline from NBC. I don't know how to put it otherwise. I think there's fair use stuff, right?
I was saying MSNBC, so yeah, whatever. We'll find out.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay,
I
so
don't know. I'll bite the bullet on this one.
Carry
This
on.
article from. It rhymes with Schmen, Spee, right? The winner of the first Democratic debate, Donald Trump. And wait a second, just hold on. And I love seeing that just because it's, first of all, it's Schmen, Spee, right? It's saying that about Trump. And then they're just, like, the point of it was like, they were so busy drawing blood on each other that they just forgot to even mention him. And the article's like pissed off that, like, hey, this is the real villain, and you guys are all worried about batting each other away because it's the more imminent threat, which is fair.
it's funny. I did see snippets where he was brought up, so it's funny because they didn't even get that right. But
It says they went long stretches without mentioning it.
okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm not even sure their debates. I guess it's up to them, but are about him.
And yeah, Elizabeth Warren said something like, "We can't just talk about him only." which is also fair. You guys should actually have to defend your ideas and not just attack this dude who's made up to be this, super villain in America right now. But
And he's just a super idiot.
which is fine. We're going to get into that now. PC.
Right.
Off the seat today for the sake of brevity. I just that made my day, and then I saw Trump screenshot it and retweeted it or something. It's like the headline. Or no, maybe it was just Breitbart. I don't know. But it made me happy that they're all upset at each other. Which is exactly what I predicted.
One of his tweets was all caps idiots.
Idiots.
That was that one word.
Idiots. It's like Dwight Schrute in The Office. Idiots.
Yeah, I think he was on his way somewhere and he said, I'm busy on Air Force One.
Watching.
Doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah, they went after Beto O'Rourke, man. He really took some hard hits. Because the other guy, the other Texan, Julian Castro,
Oh, yeah.
was like, you don't even know. You don't even know what you're talking about. You should do your homework, sir. Something, not sir, but. And then I didn't see it, but in this article it mentioned a mid-debate contest on who spoke the best Spanish. I'm like, what? I missed that? How did I not see that? And then in that same article, it's like I saw the moderator saying if you're president today, hoy, what would you do? Talking to Julian Castro. Hoy is today, right, in Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's saying, if you're president today, hoy, what would you be doing about immigration crisis, yada, yada, yada. And he didn't even mention it. He just started going into it. But I'm assuming that was probably a light-handed, remark upon the past. What was going on? And I was like, shit, I get it.
So what were the, I think I saw a little bit about, what were the issues between Beto O'Rourke and this Jackson?
He didn't support, as Congressman, Beto didn't support some legislation that was being used to justify the so-called concentration of these people that cross the border.
Say that again?
We just talked about cages, kids in cages, separated from parents. This is the legislation that allows for that to happen. And Castro was saying O'Rourke was supporting that, or at the very least not opposing it. And he goes, some people on stage have, like myself, are in favor of, seeing to this problem or whatever, and others have not, like Congressman O'Rourke. It's calling them out. And then it's like there's blood in the water, and they all just start going. It's a beautiful thing.
Launched on Beto?
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy.
I think he's not going to go very far at all.
Well, he's an interesting guy. I'm not sure what he's done.
He failed in the reaction. He totally bombed the comeback. It was his expression was hurt. It wasn't it wasn't oh, fuck you. It was like, oh, man. He's I was like, oh, yeah. He's kind of right about that. But it was not a man who is the alpha of the conversation.
Okay.
You already lose like that.
Yeah, I kind of like the guy, actually, personally.
I don't know enough about him. I think he's very much a people person. He's good at talking. He's good at keeping people's attention. I'm watching, all his rallies and stuff like that. And he's good at manipulating issues to, serve his purpose. I'll say that. That's a valuable skill.
I think, I'm going to say this, and I think you're kind of saying the same thing. I saw him at one of his, he did kind of a town hall-ish thing in a bar.
Yeah.
He was very good at saying what people wanted to hear.
That's what I'm saying. He's good at that, the pandering, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Elizabeth Warren, your favorite lady. The moderator at one point asks, this is just from that highlight reel. Yes. So, just show hands who here would choose to abolish their private healthcare coverage in exchange for a government-run healthcare thing. And before anyone can even think about it, Elizabeth Warren, first person. And then one other guy, and then one other guy, at the end, just kind of put his hand up. And that was it. No one else. The whole thing else. Those two. Which I applaud you other 8 people for having some brains, and Elizabeth Warren stuck to her principles, which is a valuable or admirable thing, even though it's pretty big. I just thought that was great. She's just I would get rid of mine.
Oh, so just a show of hands.
Yeah, who would get rid of their private health coverage in exchange for government coverage? exclusively government coverage. Don't make me do that. Do it yourself. Don't make me do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna go there.
We can really get into it. You have interesting views. I think we have conflicting views.
I just don't want to. No, you would not disagree. I just don't want to offend anybody. You know what's? I'll just get it out.
Do it.
You know what scares me about potential, single payer system, i.e., Medicare for everyone? You look at the repeated problems that you see with veterans hospitals.
They're the most mismanaged hospitals in the whole country.
And they're run by the government.
Obviously.
And you know what? I was like,
Post office.
these are our fucking veterans. Why don't we just give them really good, whatever private health?
Right, go through someone else to subsidize it.
Yeah.
Write them a check or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want for healthcare? Here you go. You can have Medicare. We'll give you an allowance. You can have, $2,000 a month.
Right. If we value them that much, which is what you purport as a government, you say that you do, then just do that. Because that's better than the shit that you've been running. And evidence in that, like the post office, is just the worst postal system, conceived by man. And we have, now FedEx and UPS. It's just why are you still trying? Don't compete with the free market. If there's already a new thing, why are you trying to fill a gap that doesn't need to be filled? I don't understand that. And you guys suck at it. You heard me. My mail gets delivered at 7 p.m. I don't like that shit. Amazon, boom. I ordered something last night, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. It's going to be here tomorrow morning. It hasn't arrived yet, so I can't endorse them.
Yeah, I'm not as incensed.
This is just one example. It's just like when the government runs shit, they don't fucking care. It's not their money. It's not their, it's not their nut they have to make. And I was rewatching some old Milton Friedman videos. He had some interview with Donahue. Some woman asked a question about, I don't know, child care, whatever.
Out of the audience?
Yeah, he was doing, people come up and ask questions. And she goes, what the government paid? Oh, it was suicide prevention hotlines and group therapy groups.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? And she goes, they funded, which is the Democrat term for subsidize, right? Or finance, right? Funding and finance are the two tribe words. But she's like, if they finance this, whatever, you'll be less or fewer suicides. And he goes, first of all, you have to realize that the government doesn't have any money. Whenever they get money, they're reaching into your pocket and taking it out. And second of all, those suicide prevention things are all publicly or privately funded. They're not publicly funded, which is a nice kind of kick in the ass for her. But
It's interesting you knew that.
Yeah. It's like the lighthouse thing. And people go, if the government wasn't there to build lighthouses, all these ships would crash. And then you go, figured that out a long time ago, that lighthouses are actually privately funded. Where they started at least to be privately funded. That's the way.
I never thought about that.
That's like the typical anarchy argument for government intervention in private business.
They're too pretty to be government funded.
Right? I know. I would love to live in a lighthouse, but I don't think that's practical.
I don't know. No, I digress to there was a show that I still occasionally throw in DVDs and watch called Northern Exposure. And there's an episode where a guy who's up in Alaska and just a version on the theme. His job is to sit in a watchtower and watch hundreds of thousands of acres of forest fires.
Oh yeah.
I mean, lighthouses are always serving an active
market, whatever
purpose.
Potential crisis.
Yeah, keep the chips off the rocks. But anyway, sitting in a lighthouse would, I think, be quite lonely.
Tremendously lonely. But if, I was giving up on life, society in general, it'd be kind of fun.
It'd be a good first stop.
Yeah,
The lesser of if you're that desperate, definitely the lesser of other evils, for sure.
Yeah, you just hang out, you get like a dog, maybe like a turtle, something.
Yeah, right.
Flash the turtle.
Or a fake turtle.
Yeah, fake turtle. I saw one in the yard. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. It's right there.
It's covering a bee hole.
Oh, God.
There was a beehive in the yard.
There's a wasp in my house right now. Somebody let it in. and it's just like flying around the house.
Why'd you let it in?
Because whatever, she's outside and the door's open. But it's like, I'm blaming her.
So you left the house with the wasp still flying?
Yeah, this is like, I'm fucking not my problem. I'm going over to Chris's house, you know. You got no wasp there. Anybody got time for that?
Got a shotgun.
Yeah, with an extra small bird shot. Extra. It's just bee shot, technically.
What a rat shot? Don't they have rat shots?
Yeah, snake shot is smaller than snake shot.
Snake.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of drywall mud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right.
No big deal.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just
You shoot it out of a 22, is that what
you can, but they're usually I think they're mainly designed for 22.
I think you should go home and do that.
Right now. Okay, bye guys.
That would be highly amusing.
It wouldn't be as impressive as shooting the wings out of a horsefly though.
I shot it in half.
Oh, that's still impressive.
And it was a hip shot too. I didn't put that.
Ooh, damn. I gotta say, I'm really eagle-eye with that 22. My Ruger 1022, best gun made by man, I think. At least most fun. Ruger 1022.
I looked at one of those.
It's so fun.
It's black plastic with a.
Oh, they've got, that must be an expedition or a breakdown.
I don't know.
They make a bunch of them.
I almost got that from my mom for my birthday. How do you like that? My mom giving her kid
A gun.
a gun.
Better than a pistol, but it's still a pretty cool gift.
Absolutely.
I got a gun as a present from my grandparents.
Yeah.
Not from my parents, but yeah, it was an old shotgun, 20 gauge shotgun.
My grandpa gave me a double barrel 410 for Christmas when I was probably 10 or 12 years old.
I think that would be a really fun. We're totally on a tangent here.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun gun. A break action 410.
I've never shot it.
You still have it? I got 150 410 shells. I can bring over here. Well,
Shoot it in the backyard. See how the neighbors react.
Got him.
You know what's weird? It's got 2 triggers.
Yeah, that makes sense. There was a period in time where they switched over.
Huh.
Because the alternative is one of those mechanisms, right? Where it's left barrel, right barrel, both barrels.
Okay.
I think. And that was derived from a safety mechanism. I think. I'm 8-balling
So you
here.
didn't blow 2 off at once?
But the safety was designed first, and then I think they included the left-right double barrel option within the safety, which was like a fire selector.
There's only one safety on this gun.
Right. Is that on the top?
It's behind. It's behind.
Right. So that was invented first, and then they figured it out where you could turn that device into also a fire selector for single trigger, left barrel, right barrel, double barrel.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So safe, right, left, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, both. I don't know.
99 out of 100 people don't know what we're talking about.
Sorry, it's really boring. Actually, no, it's not boring. This is interesting to me.
It is, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll shoot that 410 sometime.
Yeah.
And even cooler, I saw if you have a break action like a 12 gauge, they sell choke inserts, so it goes in the breech. It's just like a little thing that you slide
Shell
inside.
inside of that.
Yeah, but it converts it to like a 44 Magnum or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Yeah, or like a 9mm. Isn't that cool?
Does it just it rattles down the barrel, or?
It's kind of like a baffle system, where it's like cylinders and you just slide them in.
How long is it?
That big. Think.
But doesn't it seem like the bullet would just kind of rattle down the barrel?
That's what I don't know. I thought, but they're selling them. They're not selling them. Maybe I'm wrong about the mechanism, but that's what it is. It converts it to a pistol or a rifle caliber.
No, it makes sense. I was just thinking intuitively.
Right, you're right. But I guess
Think of a barrel, it's a very precise diameter, and it has a rifling generally.
that's true. Well, maybe, my grandpa always said something that tries to be two things fails or is successful at neither. So it's like,
That's a great saying.
yeah, something that tries to be two things is successful at neither. And so maybe that's what it is, basically. It's just like, you should have bought an AR-15 or you should have bought a 45 or whatever, but you just could buy these shitty bastards.
You know what I want to do? After, and again, this may get totally misinterpreted, but after one of the shootings, everybody was railing on
Semi-automatic rifles.
well, no, because people don't understand the difference. assault style, air quotes, rifles.
I should bring one on.
And I just went on one of the popular gun sites. And people don't understand. So there was just a totally normal looking rifle, semi-automatic.
Like a hunting rifle, Woodstock.
Yeah. So people don't understand that just because it looks mean doesn't make it more capable. Anyway, so it's just your just standard garden variety looking rifle, and you could get like a 20 or 50 shot clip for it. So functionally, it was the exact same thing.
My Ruger 1022, by the way, can hold 50 shell magazines, and it is also semi-automatic.
And does it have the kind that you pull it out and you flip it?
Yeah, you can do that if you want. I think it looks dumb, so I don't do that because I care about appearances. But yeah, Ruger's just sweet.
But with the 22, you're a good shot.
I'm a great shot.
No,
but yeah, you're right. It just shows what people don't fucking care, and they don't know, and they don't care enough to know.
Well, right, and then the media puts up. They're like, why do people need these guns? It just looks mean. It doesn't function mean.
Yeah. Right. Look, and I actually spiced mine up a little bit to make it look more mean. It's got a little bling bling going. And actually, a little bit too much bling.
Right. So if something looks like a machine gun, it's just you pull the trigger, a bullet comes out. If something looks like just your average, farmer's personal protection wolf rifle, you pull the trigger, a bullet comes out. But then bump stocks and all of
that's true. And oftentimes, like if you're gonna have like just let me just my 5.56 NATO AR-15. If you have that right next to your 4570 government whatever lever action, that 45 government is gonna do way more damage than any 5.56 shell. You could even fathom it, and it's just instead of click.
Well,
I mean, with one hit per hit,
right?
Forget.
Yeah.
And it does a lot more damage to the shooter. Those are bruisers.
Right. We've gotten hugely tangential here. Did I bring up the guy who had a kid in, I forget which shooting was in Florida, where the kids got real active?
Parkland? That wasn't in Florida, was it?
It was high school kids. It was the one where the deputy got charged.
Yeah, Parkland.
Yeah, and the guy was on Meet the Press or one of the Sunday morning shows, and he was making the rounds, and
that was 2 days after my birthday.
Happy birthday. He was really, really pissed. I'm pretty sure I brought this up on a previous podcast. But he was pissed because he said, tomorrow we can put in armed guards and metal detectors. We will never fix gun control. He said, even if we do, it's going to take years. We can make schools safe in days. It's going to take us years to get through gun control. Why are we not doing this?
That's what my
And because people stand up and they say, well, I'm not going to have my kid going into essentially a prison. So
okay, it's better
so
to be
as a matter of principle, you want to argue about gun control, right? And this started with Columbine, freaking 25 years ago, and we still don't put metal detectors and armed guards in schools.
But airports, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
And that's my argument.
Oh my gosh.
Let me finish.
Finish your point.
Quick. That's my argument about this shit. It's like they figured it out at airports. They got that shit locked down. And I'll give you that there was one shooting. Somebody that I knew was actually there at an airport a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I forget where. But it wasn't past the metal detector point. They figured that out. What did they do? I don't know what they did. Apply it at schools. Smaller scale, of course, but just do that. High school kids aren't harder to monitor than adults. Are you getting wrapped up about what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, go ahead. I'm pretty much done.
This is a huge, huge point. And I don't know if I support a border wall, the entire length of the border, or
Just a border moat.
a moat, whatever. You know what, drones and more trucks, more super capable
Bodies.
trucks or four-wheelers or whatever. But I mean, I support either physically blocking or somehow patrolling the entire border very, very actively. That had been said.
Everybody sounds correct.
People, this really frustrates me, and I'm not even sure it's a partisan thing.
Just shoot it out, man. We'll apologize later.
When people bring up opposition to the wall, they say people aren't getting caught where there isn't a wall. They're getting caught at border crossings. They're getting caught at airports. You know why?
Wait.
Because there's a wall.
Because that's where they're, wait. And you're not,
Because there's a wall.
yeah. And you're not
But there's a wall. What is there in an airport? There's a fucking wall with a handful of doors that you have to walk through in front of armed guards, or you don't get through.
Yeah.
Why are airports successful? Because they're walled off. You don't catch people where there aren't blockades and people enforcing them.
Right, barrier.
Fucking really? They keep saying we're not catching people where there aren't walls, we're catching them at the border. Well, it's the only place you're looking.
That's great. Wait, did I talk to you about this?
No.
It was the no. You didn't talk. What were you saying? My dad. It was the where they get drugs from. Where they find drugs, and it's like 70% of the drugs they find, right? That they find are coming across through ports of entry. And so they're like, we need to do better. And it's like, that, first of all, that 70% of drugs that are found is fucking, that's a meaningless statistic because you don't know how much is coming in that you're not catching or even
You
monitoring.
know where 100% of drugs are found?
Right.
Where you look.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, where they're found. Right.
So draw a line.
It's always the last place you look, that thing.
Right.
Right.
Fucking keep on looking.
Yeah, I found it.
I know a lot of people. Oh my god.
This is a really fun episode. We got a lot of fucking energy today. I'm like hyped up, and so are you.
Yes.
This is great.
How long are we?
I don't know. An hour, maybe.
Yeah, we're 57 minutes.
You want to keep going? I'm loving this.
Sure, I'm not. So we catch everybody where we're looking. We stop people with walls. We ask them questions. We let them proceed through the doors that are in the walls, or we don't. And again, I'm not saying build a freaking wall. And you know my biggest opposition? I wouldn't even be opposed to building a wall. My biggest concern about a wall is ecological stuff.
That's fair. And like I said, I've voiced my opinion about my ecological views.
And I don't, rabbits, wolves, coyote, whatever, natural predators, whatever belongs there. That's my concern. I'm not worried about a physical wall. I'm not,
And I think they even kind of figured that out, right? With like they're like, yeah, we just build it with glass. Yeah, right. And it's like, oh, okay. Right. So, oh, interesting. But I don't know if that works. I'm not ecological.
I mean, if you're a rabbit and you're frolicking along at full speed, I'm not sure you're going to navigate a slat very well. And if it's big enough for a coyote to get through, is it maybe big enough for a really thin human being to get through?
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know.
Or a huge dog.
It's funny. Ricky would be going crazy if we weren't here.
Oh, if he knew that dog was
They look out on the street for people walking, especially people with dogs.
Rowdy, that's that too.
Yeah,
He's a great dog.
I'm trying to decide if I.
Made the right decision.
Yeah, functionally that other one's better.
Yeah. That's why I stuck with that. I didn't even cross my mind after we switched again. It was like, this is great. They broke my face.
Yeah, well. I learned this from. You remember you familiar with the shepherd's name? From Charlie Boy?
The shepherd?
Shepherds, Jim Shepherd, Scott Shepherd, have you heard their names?
Oh, yeah.
Down
Yeah.
the lake first.
Scott Shepherd.
From one of those, I heard a great little cliche. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is. That's kind of how I'm a tinkerer. I can't do well enough alone.
It's kind of fun to tinker. Yeah, you're like.
I mean, I like not having this big thing in front of my face.
That's fair. It is kind of obtrusive. You can like pull it
And it gets lower. but it gets lower too.
Oh, it does.
Because
you're right.
when Noah was there last week, it was right
in your
between his
face.
face and mine. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, especially for your seat then. That's yeah.
Right, because you were looking right at him.
Yeah.
So this is good. I'll give you this.
The real question will be when we have two dudes over there.
Well, the other, I should get another chair, shouldn't I?
Yeah. When that opportunity arises.
There are two guys at work.
Who want to come on?
Well, one I think kind of doesn't, but we had a meeting for something, and the meeting disbanded, and three of us stayed. And it was late in the afternoon, and I think we were just kind of mentally, winding down for the day. And we got talking about Bitcoin and blockchain processing, and then all these other, just couple of really smart guys with really creative and abstract modes of thought, and the three of us together we went down some very
Great.
interesting rabbit holes. Absolutely.
It's always awesome.
Holy shit, it's like 6 o'clock, we gotta go home.
Yeah. I love that.
So
I really love that.
So one of the guys, I was talking to him about something for business, and I said, hey, I'd like to get you and Frank together on a podcast and pick up where we started off on blockchain or wherever we were left off. And he's like, I'm not sure. It's funny. There's people who don't want to be
My dad's one of them.
on the internet. They're like, I just don't want my face in front of the world.
Now here's what I think about that. That's all I got to say about it. There's something about humility that's like, thanks. I don't need that. It's like I don't need you guys caring about all my shit. And I don't want you caring about all my shit, by the way. But there's something that's humble about that. But that's not to say that it's hubristic, whatever. I don't know what the the proper conjugation of that. I don't know. See, I'm lost. It's not hubristic to want that either. That's fine. But it's just like people are different. I don't know. I don't really see a problem with it. I'm one of those people that doesn't really like share my shit. I don't like air my laundry, which is kind of what I'm doing. Like I don't use Instagram, Twitter, and that stuff. It's not really my thing at all. Just avoid it. Except for consuming.
When I told you the story about talking in the morning, and then watching some podcasts that interested me, and then conceptualizing talking and actually doing it for a purpose, which is for people who this might appeal to.
Yeah.
Right? My sense of right and wrong and good and bad and funny and, not funny and
politely.
whatever, that might, well, one, it would give me an outlet. So I can talk into a microphone and not feel like a weirdo every morning. Even though it hasn't subsided at all.
You don't have to feel like a weirdo, it's fine.
No, I know.
It's even better because there's no one there to view, to see you doing it, and yet you feel weird about it. You're like, that's when you're at your least vulnerable, when you have
It's actually when I'm at my best.
That's what I'm saying. You have no critics. You're like, you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's like picking your nose when no one's looking,
No, I don't feel weird in the morning.
Oh, okay.
I feel weird telling the
Oh.
I walk around the house alone, having conversations with people.
Well, see, that's what I mean. It's like when you're actually alone, it doesn't matter, but it's like, let me tell everybody about my alone behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Then the idea of putting a microphone and seeing people do this, and just like Joe Rogan's a perfect example, he just had another comedian on, and they just had this funny, insightful conversation. And I watched it for 3 hours, while I was doing stuff, but I didn't just sit there and watch. I did. Actually, I have to sit there and watch.
Oh, right.
But, I'm not sure if everybody got
that.
that.
Was good. Just leave it. We'll leave treats every now and then. I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, just throw some breadcrumbs out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, I think this would have some value to somebody. But it's not. There is no ego involved in this. So I don't think the way your dad does it all. I'm not seeking an audience. I just think this is. One, it's cathartic for me. I think it might have some value, and if it doesn't, that's fine.
Right, that's what I try to say. It doesn't have to be a function of ego, but there are people that think that it does. So it's like, whatever. And that's personal preference. But I don't think that it is. necessarily a function of ego, but that's why I don't like. Man, my traffic is such a bitch today. Tweet. It's like, who the fuck cares? And I know you don't care, so I'm not gonna force it on you. But this stuff, I think, actually has value. Like,
that's very different.
Yeah, it is very different.
Yeah, so I'm not looking at the one where we got 25 watches and put it on Facebook. Whoa, just likes. But then this guy, Frank, he just liked. I think he was like, you know what? I think I like anonymity. I don't think it was. I'm not an attention seeker. I think it was like I literally don't.
He likes to be off the grid.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be. Yeah, I mean, because you go on. This is definitely on the grid.
Yeah, it's out there now. Like think about how many hours have we done? Like 10 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like that's 10 hours of us just talking. Can you imagine how much you learn about somebody just talking to them for 10 hours? Like. There's a lot of our lives are out there now.
Yeah.
No. That's why I was kind of worried when I was looking at this career opportunity. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything super controversial in it. They would.
That's what certain things, right. If you're somebody who does this for a living, or you're in showbiz or whatever,
you have a lot more leeway.
Yeah, because you decide, right? So I think about him. Am to a degree guarded in what I might say, and topics that I think are just better left alone. If I
it makes you conscious about it at the very least.
If I retired tomorrow, there are topics I would get into that I've already avoided.
Oh wow! So let's retire next Wednesday, and then.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, right. That's fair. That's just what I'm thinking of. I'm like, but I don't think I like. Even if it did matter, I don't think I'm that like important of a person. Where they'd be like, right, you can't be talking about that stuff. I'm a nobody, which is nice. And I also thought this.
Yeah, but if you went down a road that was clearly like socially unacceptable.
Like, I want to kill those people at the border. Like, there's a guy who came into my work now, and he was like spouting that stuff off, and the only thing that I knew what to do was like nervously laugh, and like I was held hostage by the conversation. And I'm like, maybe I should have told the guy like you're fucking crazy or whatever, but that shit obviously has no place in my heart or in my area of discourse.
Yeah, but even opinions on certain things that I have that are, I think, reasonable and harmless are still highly offensive because, one, you can just, everybody infers lots of different things.
There's a lot of,
Two, there are certain things that are just so highly socially charged right now,
especially
that they're radioactive. And as much fun as it might be to get radioactive, I don't have that freedom with.
Let me share this with you. I told you, cut off the last 2 seconds with work right now. Is that what I meant to say?
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you first called me and said, hey, you want to do, I think it was around Mother's Day. You called me and asked me to be like, hey, you want to do this? I was like, yeah. I was first very concerned with my ability to avoid those topics, but since we started doing this, I don't even think about that stuff anymore. It's not even in my brain of like, so I'm effectively self-censoring my thoughts, not my speech. I don't even think about stuff that could be like radioactive, which is really weird.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I think I'm doing the same thing.
Isn't that weird? It's like, you don't even think, I don't even think about it in my free time. I don't even have a reason to.
Well, and you know what else? I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, neither do I.
There are a couple of topics that would be fun, and the people who they might offend might even be fun to offend.
Yeah, I can think of a few political things.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to offend anybody, at least now, and again, need to just keep it. Lucy wants to get on camera. Come on, Lucy. Come on, Lucy. That's right. Come on. All right, everybody. Lucy's co-piloting. Hi.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Would you like to say something?
You have something to say?
Yeah. Okay, speaking of offending people, that guy remember that we talked about like at
She's gone.
my job I had an issue with.
Oh yeah.
He came in and apologized to me.
You're kidding. Wow.
I was right. I was so right.
I am very surprised.
He said, you know, my wife talked to me about it, and he didn't come in to apologize to me. I just so happened to see him there. And the guy's like, yeah, sorry. Whatever. I just misunderstood that. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I was emotional too. I didn't mean to do that, and I was confused. And it means a lot to me what you're saying this. Because that was like the one time ever I had a beef with somebody.
That's
Ever.
You'll remember that guy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to do that.
Yeah, and I kind of shit talked him on the show, so I'm sorry. I now rescind all of
I
it.
don't think you brought that up.
Oh, maybe not.
We didn't. We talked about it after.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I mean, that was like nothing good. But I had a bad experience with somebody, and me and Chris debated it hotly whether it was my fault or his fault. And I was like steadfast in my belief that I was like, no, dude, I didn't say anything wrong. The guy came in and said, hey man, whatever. My wife mentioned something to me. And I kind of thought, whatever, she's right. I treated you a little harshly.
Well, I never said that you said anything wrong.
But you thought that I might have misinterpreted the situation, right? I forget what it was, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, it made me feel really good about myself, and
No, that's
better about that guy.
That's a great outcome, and probably better about the world.
Yeah,
Because there's some hope, right?
Right. Yeah.
The guy, and he came in.
And the guy wasn't a nitwit.
Did he come in and eat, or did he just come in to apologize?
He came in to eat, well, carry, you know, but I just randomly saw him. I was like, oh, he's like, hey, you know, not gonna yell at you. Sorry, yada, yada, yada. It was really nice.
That's still,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've had a couple instances in life where people, basically said, hey, no hard feelings.
Yeah.
And it means something.
Was that you that? Oh no, that's my grandma. My dad was telling me about his mom. She had some guy at work like 50 years ago. Some dude. Just be like a real dick to her. Oh, wait, you go.
No, it's 9 o'clock, and normally I take these guys in the bedroom, turn the TV on in there.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they're
ready to go?
Yeah.
We'll tell you what, I'll finish this off, and then this will be a nice note. About being a good person in life, which everybody should strive to be. Don't just cut everyone's throat and take what's yours, right? This guy was a real dick to my mom or my grandma back in like, I don't know, 50 years ago, whatever, at work, because she got some help that he wasn't willing to provide her because he didn't like her, and then because she was getting whatever it was. Like a few years ago, maybe 4 years, I forget how long ago it was, I might be getting the facts wrong, but it's something like 40 years away. That guy called up my grandma and said, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I'm just sorry for that. I treated you wrong. It's not right. And she like made her the whole day, she's like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's a big thing, and it's not small. It means stuff to people, and
Decades later,
Yeah.
that's huge.
and it still bothered him. He felt so bad about it decades later. Can you imagine letting something eat your brain away for 30 years, 20, you know?
I've got one thing like that.
Okay, shoot.
I'll make it right with the guy. I'll make it right with the guy.
And that's what, like, don't burn bridges. I don't know, it's just better that way.
Yeah, there was a guy, and it was not a misunderstanding thing, but it was a tile scout. I switched cell phones, and I had him in my phone as Tile Scout. He was a tile guy. So he did when I bought this house, and he needed a lot of fixing up. He did all the tile work.
We text him, hey Kyle, he says, my name is Scott.
I don't know his last name. I can't track this guy down. And he was so good, and he was so good at tile, and he was so reasonably priced. Anyway, and he was a good guy. So he came in and did some work, and I forgot about it for like, I don't know, a month or two or whatever.
He's like, hey, you wanna?
No. He never said anything. And I'm like, I don't know how I remembered, but I was like, fuck, I still owe Scott $100.
Mm-hmm.
He did like this last tiny little job. He's like, yeah, I'll just do it for $100. So I sent him a check. And he got the check in the mail and he called me. He goes, hey, thank you so much. And I'm like, I owed you $100. He goes, yeah, but I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, right. That's like you could have gotten away with it.
And he goes, you know, this doesn't happen to me.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
That's really nice then. Yeah, I say this to people all the time, like, oh shit, you totally forgot.
Yeah, he said this really says something about it, because most people that, you know, I didn't ask, I forgot to ask it.
Yeah.
He said this doesn't happen.
Right.
So thank you, that's pretty cool, it says a lot about it.
And
Thank you for that.
And I'm going through an opposite situation right now, where I'm on Scott's end. It's not nice. I'm having to hunt this guy down.
What? Yeah, but the point, if somebody were hunting me, I'd rather just give them money than get shot, right? But,
Oh yeah.
but he wasn't.
All right, you bastard, I got you.
Right.
Hey, you wanna do that? No, I'm busy right now. Like, oh really? You're not at a cookout with your family?
All right, I'm gonna make a stupid joke, then we'll wrap it up. Have you seen the movie The Jerk?
No.
There's a very, very funny
Sorry.
scene. It's okay. There's a scene. So do you know the gist of the thing?
No, I don't know anything about it.
So it's Steve Martin. It's Steve Martin, and he grows up in the country, and he leaves the country home and goes to do bigger and better things. Then he works his way towards the city. So he gets a job at a gas station, and he takes residence at the gas station in the bathroom. And the phone books come out, and like they throw the phone books out. And he's yelling, "The phone books are here! The phone books are here!" So he opens, and his name is Nathan R. Johnson. So he opens it up and he goes, Johnson, Nathan R. And he goes, my name in writing. Things are going to start happening to me now. Then there's this guy in like fatigues in a dark room, and he goes like this, boom, and puts his, you know, just right when Steve Martin's done saying, things are going to start happening to me now. And he goes, boom, and it's Johnson, Nathan R. Typical bastard. Die, run-of-the-mill son of a bitch.
I'm sorry, Mike.
So this guy's like a commando kind of guy, you know. So then he shows up across the street from the gas station, and he starts shooting at him.
Holy shit! What?
And the bullets start hitting things, and then it's funny from there. They start hitting oil cans. And he's so naive that the cans are popping, and he goes, do you know who Jackie Mason is?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's pointing to the cans and he's laughing. And he's like, Nathan, you know. Run. He's like, these cans, we have defective cans. And he's watching the can pop and he's laughing. He goes, Nathan, we don't have defective cans, we got a defective person. And he goes, oh, he hates these cans. He starts running across the gas station, and he's running through like the bays where the cars are getting fixed, and then there's other cans of other automotive. And there's like, yeah, so the bullets are going boom, 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 and he goes, more cans. He hates them. Anyway.
That very well.
You should Google that.
I'm gonna watch the whole movie. That sounds hilarious.
The movie moves pretty slow.
Oh, okay.
It has some very. It might be worth watching. It has some very funny scenes.
I'll have to watch that. But
anyway, it's an hour.
Yeah.
The dogs are saying, "Hey, man."
My dogs are barking.
They are.
Literally.
They are.
Well,
Someone's in me.
Not quite. But
Unless you got any other thing. You were wrapping it up on a good humanitarian note.
that's okay. Now we wrapped it up with comedy, which is also humanitarian, so that's fine.
All right. So we're good. Over and out.
Nothing.
Over and out. Thanks, people. See you in a week.